Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is April 24th, 2023. It's on Monday, and cloudy or sunny outside. How are you spending Monday? Maybe for the most of people, Monday is the hardest, toughest day because most of the people, Monday will be the first day in a week. So maybe they are very tired now. Do you like Monday? Or do you hate Monday? Or do you have a day off Monday? It depends on your school or working schedule. I bought dozens of pencils yesterday at 100 yen shop. I bought dozens of pencils at 100 yen shop. All of the goods, with some exceptions, are sold for 100 yen. 100 yen fixed shop, with some exceptions. I bought dozens of pencils at 100 yen shop. I bought dozens of pencils. Dozens of pencils. Dozens of pencils. Dozens of students were involved in that accident. Dozens of students couldn't help laughing, and which became viral in the classroom. Not challenging will be fatal in this era or future. Not challenging something new will be fatal. Approaching the coastline during the typhoon is fatal. Let's avoid fatal activities. All of the activities can be fatal if we do not follow the rules. Driving a car can be also fatal. We have to drive our cars very carefully. We have to drive our car carefully. Taking over my family business might be fate. Do you believe in fate? Do you believe in fate? Do you believe in fate? A series of good fortunes happened to me consecutively by a twist of fate. By a twist of fate. A fate. By a twist of fate. By a twist of fate. By a twist of fate. Consecutive good fortunes happened to me. Aroused me. Broke out. By a twist of fate. 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 Good fate. Praying for good fate. wishing for, hoping good fate, 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 good fate, good fortune, praying for good fortune for 2023. Good fortune, good fate for 2023. Fate, fate. By twist of fate, the couple became together. By a twist of fate, I lost the contact information with her in the country. The couple met each other by a twist of fate in the foreign country. The couple met each other by a twist of fate. By a twist of fate. It was a kind of miracle. It was a sort of miracle. It was sort of miracle. It was kind of miracle. By a twist of fate. 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 The couple met each other while traveling in the country by a twist of fate. He won the lottery. What was more, he was accepted in the company he had wanted to enter. By a twist of fate. By a twist of fate. By a twist of fate. I was caught in the heavy rain without an umbrella. What was worse? I forgot an important document to the workplace. I was caught in the traffic jam. What was worse? I was late for the workplace. By a twist of fate. By a twist of fate. Looking back on my days. Looking back on my days. I realized that taking over the family business was my fate. Looking back on my days, taking over the family business was a fate. Something crazy or good can happen by a twist of fate. 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 The couple met each other in the guest house by a twist of fate. I took the same flight as the Prime Minister took by a twist of fate. I took the same flight as celebrities took by a twist of fate. I took the same flight as the celebrity took by a twist of fate. By a twist of fate. By a twist of fate. According to the information, the fatalities are expected to increase, soar, rise. The more time passed, the more the time passes. According to the information from the news, the fatalities are expected to increase the more the time passes. As the time passes, as the search proceeds, as the search proceeds. Please look at the chart and statistics. The fatalities due to car accidents are decreasing thanks to the stricter surveillance. Please look at the chart and the statistics. According to the statistics, the fatalities rate due to the car accidents are decreasing. Fatality rate. Fatality rate. 0 fatality rate. Fatality rate has been decreasing or increasing. Which? Has the fatality rate in car accidents decreasing or increasing? It is said that the fatalities are expected to increase as the search proceeds. It is expected that the fatalities will increase as the search proceeds. It is predicted that the fatalities will increase as the search proceeds. As the search proceeds. Fatality rate due to the car accident. Thanks to the stricter and much effort from both public and private sectors, The fatality rate due to car accidents has been decreasing since then. Thanks to much effort from both public and private sectors, the fatality rate has been decreasing. The fatality rate due to car accidents are decreasing, has been decreasing since then. With the development of new technologies, medical technologies, I hope the fatality rate will decrease. Fatality rate in everything will decrease. Thanks to much effort from both public and private sectors, the fatality rate has been decreasing. The fatality rate due to the car accidents has been decreasing. Fatality rate. Fatality. Fatality. Many bunches of flowers were put on the spot where the accident happened, to show respect to the fatalities, to show respect to the fatalities, to console the fatalities. Many bunches of flowers were dedicated to the spot where the accident happened, to show respect to the fatalities. Many bunches of flowers were dedicated, devoted, devoted to the spot where the accident happened, to show respect to the fatalities. Fatalities. It usually takes, it can take time for me to set out to work on my duty after lunch, because my motivation tends to be distracted by eating lunch. My strategy to keep motivated is to finish my lunch within 5 minutes, and as soon as finishing my lunch, I set out to work on my duty. This is my strategy to keep me motivated. How soon do you set out to work on your duty after lunch? I think many people will have 1 hour lunch break, and after one lunch break, they will set out to work on their duty. This is very common, I think. Or some people will skip the lunch and sleep at the desk. Have you slept at the desk by skipping lunch? We set out for the airport at 6:30 a.m. on the day. We set out for the international airport at 9:00 a.m. after having lunch at the hotel on the next morning. Given the opening time at the stadium, we should set out the destination by 9:00 a.m. in time for the opening ceremony. If you were to follow that bridge, it would be almost impossible to be saved. Were you to follow that bridge, it would be almost impossible to be rescued. If you were to be able to fly like a bird, what would you want to do? What would you do? What would you like to do? Would you like a cup of coffee? Would you like a cup of coffee? Or tea? Coffee, please. Do you prefer coffee to tea? Would you rather coffee than tea? If you should meet my coworker in the corridor or dining room, please tell him to contact me by today. Should you meet my coworker in the lunch break room or anywhere else, could you tell him to contact me as soon as possible? Thank you. Can I take a message? Please leave your message after beep sound. Excuse me, I'd like to have a word privately with you, so please get me back as soon as possible. Thank you. If you should meet my coworker in the lunch break room, in the dining room, or anywhere else, could you notify him of the emergency situation and call me back as soon as possible? Send me a message or contact me as soon as possible. If you were to hit the lottery, win the lottery, what would you like to use? What would you like to use for? What would you like to use for? If you were to win the lottery, what would you like to use for? What would you like to use for? What would you like to use for? Considering the departure time of the flight, we have to set out for the airport by 7:00 a.m. here. So we don't have much time for breakfast. I usually set out to work on my duty, on finishing my lunch. I usually finish my lunch by 5 minutes. I usually set out to work on my duty as soon as I finish my lunch. Spending much time on lunch deprives me of motivation, concentration. So I tend to finish my lunch shorter, immediately, in no time. Having a long lunch makes me have less concentration, less concentration. So I usually make the time for lunch brief. I usually make the time for lunch brief. I usually set out to work on my duty as soon as I finish my lunch, because spending much time on lunch deprives me of my motivation, rob me of my motivation. Spending much time on lunch deprives me of my motivation. Robs me of my motivation. Spending much time on lunch deprives me of my motivation. Robs me of my motivation. Let's set out to work on the duty tomorrow. It's already 11 o'clock p.m. It's time we went to bed. We should hurry to the train station, otherwise we must the last train, ending up staying in a capsule hotel, or guest houses, or other hostels, or business hotels, or suite, or fancy hotels if you can afford. I wish I were rich enough to be able to stay in a fancy hotel every day. I wish I were rich enough to be able to stay in a suite room, pension room. I wish I could afford buying a house. I wish I were rich. I wish I could afford buying luxury goods every day. I wish I could afford staying in a fancy restaurant, staying in a fancy hotel. I wish I could afford staying in a fancy hotel. I wish I could be able to stay in a fancy hotel. I wish I could afford to stay in a fancy hotel. I wish I could afford staying in a fancy hotel. I wish I could afford staying in a fancy hotel. The regulations set out that we cannot bring flammable items into the cabin. The regulations state that we cannot bring flammable items into the cabin. Of course, no. The policy set out that we should be considerate to others. The teaching from my teacher set out that we should be kind to each others. The instructions of the product sets out that we have to clean the table before the assembly. The manual of the product sets out that we have to clean the table before the assembly. The instruction of the merchandise sets out that we have to put the merchandise out of the children's reach. The manual of the product sets out that we have to put the merchandise out of baby's reach. The instructions of the product set out that we have to avoid putting the product from direct sunlight. The email I got from my professor set out that we had to submit the report by the deadline. Otherwise, we would take the same year again to graduate. The manual of the product sets out that we have to assemble the product in clean place without obstacles on a flat table. The manual of the product sets out we have to assemble the parts on a flat table. The instructions of the product set out that we have to make sure that there are no obstacles on the table. The instructions of the product set out that we have to make sure that there are no obstacles on the table. The manual of the product sets out that we have to make sure that there are no obstacles on the table for safety. The policy sets out that we have to be kind and considerate to others. The guideline sets out that there are some exceptions for the rule. The guideline for the examination sets out that there are some exceptions which allow us take to the examination, which allows us to be exempt from some subjects if we have some certain qualifications. The guideline for the examination sets out that there are some qualifications with which we can be exempt from taking some subjects. The guideline for the examination sets out there are some qualifications with which we can be exempt from taking some subjects. Are you afraid of facing difficulties? Facing difficulties cannot be avoided. We will face difficulties in the course of our lives. It cannot be helped. It can be helped. It is inevitable. Facing difficulties, confronting difficulties are inevitable. It will definitely happen to us. It will definitely come out to us. But facing difficulties and getting over those will make us grow much. Facing difficulties by living in uncomfortable zone will make us grow much. We will not grow much in a comfortable zone. It is said so. They say we cannot grow much in a comfortable zone. In order to grow, we have to get out of the comfortable zone. Which does your house face? Which does the entrance of the shop face? Which direction does the entrance of the shop face? Which direction does the shop face? Only one of the shops along the avenue faces away from the avenue line. Which direction does the entrance of the shop face? Which direction does the entrance of the house, does the entrance of the shop face? West or east? Only one shop among the 45 shops along the avenue faced away from the avenue line. Only one shop along the street faced away from the avenue line. We have to calm down whenever we face difficulties. Calming down will come first. Calming down will be the first step to do when we face difficulties. Predicament. Hardship. Which direction does the shop face? Which direction does the entrance of the shop face? Which direction does the statue face? Which direction does the statue facing? Which direction does the entrance of the shop face? Please look at the statue facing west. The smoke coming out from the chimney is facing north today. The smoke coming out of the chimney facing south today. By looking at the direction of the smoke, we can know the direction of the wind. So the smoke also works as a wind direction. Wind vane. By looking at the direction of smoke, we can know the direction of the wind. So it also works as a wind vane. Excuse me, I reserved a room facing an ocean view, but I cannot see it. It's opposite side, and I can see city view. I'm sorry, sir. I will immediately move you to the room with ocean view. We are sorry for the inconvenience. Excuse me, I booked a room facing ocean view, but I cannot see it, and I can see city view instead. We are sorry. I will move you to the room with ocean view immediately. We are very sorry for the inconvenience. I'm not good at talking face to face. Studying with a textbook is much different from talking face to face. Speaking to myself is totally different from talking with native speakers face to face. I remember being scolded by my teachers frequently face to face. I was frequently scolded by my teachers face to face. The scholar said that signing a contract and negotiating face to face is very important. Many people are afraid of losing their face. Many people are afraid of losing their face by making big mistakes. Are you also afraid of losing your face? Are you also afraid of losing your face? Are you also afraid of losing your face? There are many risks to lose your face in the society. There are many traps. Challenging may also be the risk to lose your face by making a mistake. But I think losing my face might be the key to breakthrough. Reversely, a breakthrough might not be able to be achieved without losing our face. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to lose my face by making a big mistake or something like that. What is the criteria to lose our face? What does it even exist? The celebrity lost his face by the corruption. We might notice the importance of our health when we lose our face in the face of a serious disease. It might not be until we lose our face that we know the importance of our health. It was not until yesterday that I was notified of the truth. It won't be until tomorrow that the result is announced. It won't be until tomorrow that the result is announced. It won't be until noon that the exam result is announced. It won't be until tomorrow. It won't be until tomorrow that the exam result is announced. Many people might notice the importance of their health in the face of serious disease. In the face of the accident, I got panic. In the face of the accident, I got panic. I became panic. I turned panic. I transformed into panic. I turned into panic. I got into panic. I got into panic. I've changed in the face of difficulties. Reversely, to think reversely, we might not change unless we are in the face of difficulties. We can change thanks to the difficulties. We will change in the face of difficulties, hardships, difficulties, predicaments. My grandfather stopped smoking in the face of the disease. My grandfather stopped smoking in the face of the disease. My grandfather stopped smoking in the face of the disease. My grandfather stopped smoking in the face of disease. What if you encountered a bear while hiking? What if you encountered a bear, big bear, while hiking, while trekking in the mountain? Do you know the strategies to drive them away, or something like that? What if you encountered a bear while trekking in the mountain? What if you encountered a bear, or 2 or 3 bears? What if you encountered a bear, or 2 or 3 bears? What if you encountered a bear, encountered the bear, encountered a bear, encounter? What if you encountered a bear? What if you encountered a bear while hiking in the mountain? What if you encountered a white fox on the street? What if you encountered a bear? What if you encountered a bear? Encounter. What if you encounter the What if you encountered the celebrity you love on the street suddenly by accident? What if you encountered the celebrity you love by accident on the street? What would you do? Would you get the autograph by him or her? What if you encountered the celebrity you really love, on the street by accident? What would you do? Would you get the autograph from him or her? No one wants to encounter accident. In order to avoid bad encounter, I'm prepared. I prepare enough in order to avoid bad encounter. In order to avoid the encounter with wild animals, I don't go to the mountains. Are you looking for a good encounter with people? Some people participate in the parties to wish for good encounter, with people. And some people join the parties to search for good encounter with people. Some people take part in parties for the encounter with people. Plenty of bunches of flowers were dedicated to the spot where the accident happened to show respect to the fatalities. The panel said absolutely fantastic to the performance of the performer candidate. The judge, one of the three judges said to the performer candidate, it was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It was absolutely my responsibility, my failure. It was absolutely a lack of preparation. It was absolutely your lack of preparation. Absolutely. It was absolutely a short of preparation. It was absolutely my responsibility. It was absolutely my lack of knowledge. Absolutely burned down. Absolutely devastated town. Absolute power. Absolute power of the government. Absolute power. Absolute muscular body. Absolute power. Absolute muscular body. The dictator had absolute power in the country. The dictator had a virtual absolute power. Absolute. Virtual de facto absolute takeover by the CEO. No one can confront the dictator with absolute power. absolute, absolute, absolute. Absolute government, absolute power, absolute dictatorship, absolute dictatorship, absolute, 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 absolute version of the transformation. Absolute condition, absolute condition. Absolute version of the transformation. Absolute version of the transformation. Absolute power, absolute version of the transformation. Absolute form of ukiyo-e, called nishiki-e. This is an example of the absolute form of the painting. His absolute art. His absolute painting. Art. The diner astonished the cook by his awesome appetite. Do you like astonishing others by surprise? The chef was astonished by the diner's awesome appetite. The cook was astonished at the diner's good appetite. Everybody was astonished at the big sound from the explosion. My pet dog was astonished at my sneezing. My pet dog was astonished at my sneezing. My pet dog was astonished by my sneezing. My pet dog was astonished at my sneezing. Do you like to astonish your friends with surprise? For example, presenting something they really love on their birthdays or on normal days. I want you to see the astonishing view from Mount Fuji, from the summit of Mount Fuji. It's beyond description. It's beyond description. I cannot describe by words. I would like you to see the astonishing, breathtaking view from the summit of Mount Fuji. Astonishing, astonishing, astonishing appetite, astonishing scenic beauty, astonishing view, astonishing beauty of Mount Fuji. Astonishing, 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 astonishing. My mouth was kept open with astonishment. My mouth was left open with astonishment. My mouth was kept open with astonishment at the price of the watch. My mouth was kept open with astonishment at the price of the watch. Astonishment, astonishment. I could not hide my astonishment. No one can hide the astonishment at the price. Astonishment, astonishment. I lost my words with 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 astonishment. With astonishment. 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 I overreacted in the film to show my astonishment. Expressing astonishment in the film is not so difficult. How do you express your astonishment? By opening your eyes wide? Or shout? Or jump? I wish I could recover from my deplorable condition of disease. I've been suffering from deplorable condition of my disease. Deplorable condition of my disease. I have been suffering. I have been suffering from my deplorable condition of disease. I have been suffering from the deplorable condition of my disease. Deplorable, 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 deplorable. Deplorable, 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 deplorable condition of my health. Rain is the deplorable condition for many events. Rain must be the deplorable condition for many events. Deplorable condition for many events. Deplorable. Rain must be the deplorable condition for many events. Deplorable. Rain must be the deplorable condition for many events. Deplorable. 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 The pedestrian couldn't help picking up the stray cat with deplorable condition in the cardboard box with a message from the previous owner. The pedestrian couldn't help picking up a stray cat in the cardboard box with a message from the previous owner. The passers-by couldn't help picking up a stray cat in a cardboard box with a message from the previous owner. The cat was in a deplorable condition. The cat was in a deplorable condition. The cat was in a deplorable condition. Deplorable. 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 Deplorable condition. Since When I was in the junior high school, the condition was so deplorable because it was so old. When I was at the junior high school, the building was in the deplorable condition because it was old. Soon after I graduated, it was rebuilt. Deplorable. 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 Do you find eating lunch alone deplorable? But I usually eat lunch alone, so it's normal for me. Deplorable. 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 Most of the people lining up in the queue deplore the guy cutting on the lane, cutting on the queue. Deplore the guy cutting on the queue suddenly. Deplore. Every fan deplore the death of the singer. Every fan deplore the death of the singer. 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 All of the fans deplore the death of the singer. All of the fans deplore the death of the singer. Deplore the death of the singer. All of the fans deplore the death of the singer. All of the locals used to go to the restaurant deplore the destruction of the building. All of the locals who used to go to the restaurant deplore the destruction of the building after long years of service. The customers and the locals deplored the destruction of the restaurant after many years of service. The locals and customers deplored the destruction of the restaurant after many years of service. all of the locals and customers deplore the destruction of the building after many years of service. Deplore. All of the employees deplore the resignation of the CEO, who was loved by everybody. All of the employees deplored the resignation of the CEO, who was loved by everybody. Deplored. Deplorable. Deplorable. All of the fans deplored the sudden death of the idol. All of the fans deplored the sudden death of the idol. All of the fans deplored the sudden death of the idol. All of the fans deplored the sudden death of the idol. All of the fans deplored the sudden death of the idol. All of the fans deplored the sudden death of the idol. All of the people lining up in the queue deplore the rude guy, cutting on the queue suddenly. All of the people lining up in the lane deplore the guy cutting on the queue suddenly. Everybody will deplore the rude driver cutting on the lane suddenly. Some people deplore people eating ramen with sound. Some people might find eating ramen with sound deplorable. Not good. Some people might find eating ramen with sound deplorable. Bad manner. Some people might think eating ramen with sound bad manner. Deploring the sudden death of the musician. Do you deplore those being late for the destination more than 30 minutes? Definitely. Absolutely. I will definitely deplore those being late for the destination 30 minutes, more than 30 minutes. I really deplore those being late for the destination more than 30 minutes without a message. I really deplore those telling many lies without hesitation. I really deplore those telling lies without hesitation. All of the people lining up in the queue deplored the rude guy cutting on the queue suddenly. All of the people lining up in the queue deplored the guy cutting on the queue suddenly. All of the participants in the meeting deplored the guy cut off the conversation suddenly. All of the audiences deplored the guy cut off the conversation suddenly. All of the audiences and participants of the event deplored a rude guy, deplored the rude guy, cut off the conversation of the guest at the podium. All of the participants, all of the examinees deplored the noise coming from outside. All of the examinees deplored the sound coming from outside. All of the examinees deplored the noise coming from outside, which prevented them from taking the exams. All of the examinees deplored the noise coming from outside, which prevented them from taking the examinations with concentration enough. All of the examinees deplored the noise coming from outside. All of the examinees deplored the noise coming from outside, which kept them from taking the examination with concentration. It is normal to deplore those being late for the destination as business person. It is normal to be deplored to be late for the destination as business person. It is normal to be deplored to be late for the destination as a business person. It is normal to be punctual as a business person. It is normal to be deplored as a business person to be able to be late for the destination. It is normal to deplore those being late for the destination as business person. It is normal to deplore those being late for the destination. It is normal to deplore those who who be late for the destination. It is normal to deplore those being late for the destination. All of the fans deplore the sudden death of the idol. All of the fans deplore the sudden death of the idol. All of the fans deplore the sudden death of the idol. Let me compensate you for the 30-minute delay by buying lunch. The executive members of the company is discussing the compensation for the inconvenience to the customers. The executive members of the company is discussing. The executive members of the company are discussing how they compensate the customers for the inconvenience. The executive members of the company are discussing the way of how to compensate its customers for the inconvenience. Compensation. I got a coupon which is available around in the airport as compensation for the delay. I was paid 20,000 yen as a compensation. I had my product fixed for free in compensation for the flaws. I had my product replaced with new one in compensation for the defects. I had my product fixed, amended for free in compensation for the first flaws after the purchase. I had my product fixed, amended in compensation for the flaws. I had my product changed with new one. I got my product changed with new one because of the flaws, in compensation for the flaws. My friend bought me lunch in compensation for his delay. 1 hour delay. In compensation for. The school had extra classes on Saturday in compensation for the cancellation on the weekday. The university held extra classes on Saturday in compensation for the cancellation on the weekday. The university held extra classes in compensation for the cancellation on the weekday. The university held extra classes on Saturday in compensation for the cancellation on the weekday. In compensation for. I performed my comedy in front of them in compensation for the inconvenience. I performed my comedy show in front of my friends in compensation for the inconvenience. The shipping fee became free in compensation for the inconvenience from the company. I got the product I bought changed with a new one in compensation for the flaws, defects. I had the product exchanged with a new one in compensation for the flaws, defects. I had the product changed with the new one in compensation for the flaws. A coupon which can be used in the airport was given to the passengers in compensation for the inconvenience. The airline gave away the coupon which can be available in the airport to the passengers in compensation for the delay. All of the passengers got the money back, got the total feedback in compensation for the sudden cancellation from the airline. I got such a terrible treatment at the reception. I will never forget it. I got such a terrible service at the reception of the hotel. I will not forget it. What a terrible receptionist. What a terrible reception it is. What a terrible attitude of the receptionist. What a terrible attitude of the receptionist has. I was treated terribly at the reception of the hotel. It is expected to be terribly cold tomorrow, so please be prepared. It is expected to be very cold, terribly cold. It is predicted to be terribly cold tomorrow. It is predicted to be terribly cold. It is expected to be terribly cold tomorrow, so please be careful. Please be prepared. Terribly. I was exhausted terribly. Terribly exhausted I was. I was forced to work overtime on the day to finish the norma, to finish the task. Terribly exhausted as I was, I forced my body to go to work. Terribly. Both two cars got terribly devastated in the car accident. The typhoon terribly struck the area. Some food terribly affect my allergy. Some food have a terrible effect on me, on my skin. Some food have a terrible effect on me, a terrible effect on me. Some food or some, especially cedar pollen, have bad effect on my skin. Terrible effect have a terrible effect on me. Cedar pollen has battery effect on me. Have an effect on me. Have done terrible effect on me. have an effect on me, have a bad effect on me. Cedar pollen, especially cedar pollen, has a terrible effect on me. It is terribly affected. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.